prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
What's up, guys? Dane Davis here. Shout out to Boogie Bentley Dauber and the Indie Kid over at Talkin VAWLS Network on YouTube. VAWLS fans, head over to their YouTube channel, Talkin VAWLS Network. Smash that like button and subscribe, baby. Go Big Orange.
This right here is the tip of the freaking iceberg of what we are. Words courtesy of Josh Heupel following Tennessee's victory over Missouri yesterday, 62-24. My name is the Indie Kid. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Thank you for tuning in. This is the day after. Coming a little bit late in the day today due to travel, but glad to be able to bring this to you in the early evening. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you hit subscribe. And just so I make sure I say it right, since I failed on it last week, yes, Tennessee did not just win, they annihilated Missouri 62-24 yesterday. Josh Heupel post-game, some of you guys have probably seen the videos on Tennessee Twitter where he said this is the tip of the freaking iceberg of what we want to do. And, he talked about how he loved the preparation. He loved building up to it. This is what a Josh Heupel offense looks like when it's hitting, I would say, close to all cylinders. I don't know if it was all cylinders. Maybe there was some, maybe there was some other growth. But Heupel said post-game, I said, this is the players. This is the tip of the iceberg. We're just scratching the surface of what we are capable of. There is a whole lot more for us in our growth. We're in a race against ourselves to be as good as we can be, as fast as we can. There's just an intrinsic internal battle that you're fighting with yourself to become your best. And he continued today, from last week to today, there was a ton of growth. Most of it is off the field and in our preparation. Our guys have had really good practice habits, but we continue to grow. I thought the last 48 hours were absolutely our best. And he said those things show up in how you play on the field too. Excited that our kids got this result. At the same time, I think they know, and our coaches know too, that we've got to come back and get better on Monday. Josh Heupel's made some comments over the last few weeks about how they prepared 48 hours going into the game. And he says it right there. I thought the last 48 hours were absolutely our best. And I don't think there's any disputing that based on how they came out yesterday. 45-10 at the half, tacked on another 17. Could have easily been 24 as Talkin Evans was in the fourth quarter. Officials did not overturn it. Now, I don't know if that would have led to another touchdown or not, but anyhow, that should have been a touchdown along the way. Just wow. I think we could all say it coming in. All three of us on our Talkin VAWLS panel on our channel picked anywhere from 11 to 17-point victories last week. So I think we all thought this was a good matchup, but who would have seen this coming? An absolute boat race, 38-point victory. One of the most dominant Tennessee victories in SEC play in a long time. I know they put over 60 on Missouri in 2016, but Missouri in that game that day in 2016, Missouri had 650 yards of offense, and they put up 37 points themselves. Just domination, total domination. I would say, once Tennessee got that lead yesterday, it was never in doubt. And, coming out today's game, Missouri fired their defensive line coach today, 5 games into their season. Obviously, we know a little bit about how that is. You don't wish that upon anybody, but I'm glad it's on the other foot this time instead of happening on our foot. But, a few things to touch upon. Point number one, and I think one of the most important, the quarterback situation, barring injury, has sorted itself out. Hendon Hooker is the quarterback. He had a good game yesterday. Once again, It just jives with him. It just jives. It just works. 15 out of 19, 225 and 3 touchdowns. That could have easily been 17 out of 19 with 4 touchdowns. I thought that, well, Peyton dropped one in the end zone, but he was being held the whole time as well. So that could have been a pass interference. And then Hooker also added 15 carries for 80 yards, 5.3 carries. 5.3 yards per carry and a touchdown. So a total of 305 yards and 4 touchdowns for Hendon Hooker in SEC play. Granted, against probably the worst defense in the conference and one of the worst we've seen in a while in the conference, but still, it's SEC play. This same Missouri team did not look that bad against Kentucky just a few weeks back as they lost 35-28. Josh Heupel and this team needed this win. They needed it to get – I think not only did they need the win, they needed this kind of a blowout. And people are happy. I'm happy with this. I loved it. I loved that they pedal to the metal. They did not take their foot off the gas. So many times over the years with Tennessee coaches, we've seen Tennessee get, a little bit of a lead, and then they just try to cruise through it. They never let off the gas in this one. Granted, they didn't throw as much once they got up real big, but they didn't need to. I mean, they did not need to. They had 458 yards on 59 carries, a 7.8 yards per carry average. And Talon Evans, 15 for 56. Hendon Hooker, 15 for 80. Lynette Whitehead, who I thought he looked really good, and he came in and got knocked out of the game later on with a hard hit. 9 for 76, an 8.4 average. Marcus Pierce Jr., 11 for 45. He was actually the only one under 5 yards per carry. But I'll be honest, you get 4.1 yards per carry, you'll take that because every third carry, you're moving the chains. So we'll take it. Joe Milton come in late, 2 carries, 39 yards. Jabari Small had 3 carries for 38 early before he was pulled out of the game for injury. And then Jalen Wright, 4 carries for 24 yards. So just an excellent day for the line. And they did this without Cooper Mays also, which I thought was even more impressive. And, a guy like Dane Davis, who at the beginning I played our cameo with him, carried off the field numerous times and kept going to the end. Hats off to him. But just a good day for Tennessee. Where does Tennessee move going forward? The line come out a little bit earlier before I did this. Tennessee is a 12-point favorite going into against South Carolina next week, 12 p.m. in Knoxville. And, I think they can build on that. And then the next week it's Ole Miss. I don't think that game – we were saying at one point that we thought that would look like one that Tennessee probably wouldn't have much of a chance in. And granted, Ole Miss played Alabama. It's really hard to – Alabama drills everybody, unfortunately. But I don't know. That game looks suddenly attainable, maybe is the word I'm going to use. I still think Ole Miss is probably going to be the favorite in that game, and rightfully so. But I think Tennessee can – I think they can hang with them. We'll see how it goes. But just nice to see this team. They started well last week in Florida and finished. And just so we clear up any comments about it, guys, if you want to get aggravated with me about comments, I'll ask, just make sure you listen to the context of my comments last week. Caught some grief because people are claiming I said shut the program down because of a loss. That's not what I said at all. And it's not really even what I meant. I said, if we are claiming moral victories after 24-point losses, and I didn't say this, but in which it was really kind of a bad second half, then it's time to shut the program down. What I meant by that is that's ridiculous. No, we're not shutting programs down after losses. That was not what I meant. If you'll go back and listen to it, and I think most of you did, and thank you, those who did and knows what I meant. But some of you were upset about it. Be upset at yourself for not listening to the context of it. That's all I can tell you. That's all I'm going to address on that. I'm not addressing that comment again moving forward because it's not what I meant. And I really shouldn't have to explain myself on it, but I know I still get it every week. Last week with it, there were some comments yesterday in the chat about, oh, now you changed your tune. No, I haven't changed my tune a bit. I said there were good things last week, and there were things they needed to work on. That comment was just basically in regards to how ridiculous I thought saying a moral victory was after a 24-point loss. That's the last I'm addressing it. I'm not addressing it anymore moving forward. Defense, a good day yesterday as well. Let's try to wrap this up for you guys here in due time. The defense, Missouri threw for 322 yards, but they're trailing the whole game. 44 passes on that, so it's 7.3 yards per catch. Not that bad. But they held Missouri 30 carries for 74 yards, and we heard a lot about Tyler Beatty. He had 21 carries for 41 yards. Really good job. And this plays into Tennessee's hands when they face a team without a mobile quarterback. Most of you guys who followed Tennessee for years, going back to even the 90s, the early 2000s, Tennessee has always struggled with the mobile quarterback. I mean, we can go back years and years on that. And obviously it didn't used to be as much a part of the games it is today, but you would occasionally run into that mobile guy, and it's always giving Tennessee trouble. So I really feel when they face that quarterback without that mobility, that is a big, big positive for Tennessee. That really goes in their favor. Now, most of your quarterbacks the rest of the way are going to have some mobility to them. So we'll see how that goes. But things clicked yesterday. Yeah, you can. It's like Josh Heupel said, if you'll watch that Twitter post where he addressed them. Yeah, you're not going to have a game of perfection. And, I understand how it is. You'll have a great game. There's always going to be things you can work on. There's never going to be a perfect game. There's just not. But, man, you got to be happy with that yesterday. Again, it fires me up to see a coach who will not let off the gas. It's one thing when you're playing Tennessee Tech and Bowling Green and you kind of let off. But in the SEC play, no. Yeah, I think they probably could have put up more if they really wanted to. But 62 points could have easily been 7 more if not for a gaffe by the officials. But we'll see where they go this week. 12-point favorite over South Carolina. I think it's another very winnable game. And Tennessee needed this, not only for the coaches, for the players, for the fans as well. I think a lot of fans needed to see that. And let's make no mistake about it, the players needed that. I really think they needed that as well. As they did good things against Pitt. They did good things against Florida. It was just, too many mistakes in those games. Like Josh Heupel said, the preparation is weak. How they practiced, how they prepared 48 hours leading up to. You could tell. You could tell when a team is dialed in, focused, and prepared. Tennessee was that team this week. How do they respond to this next week? Another very winnable game. 12-point favorite at the time. I could see that line going up because I think if Tennessee comes out and plays their game, I think they should boat race South Carolina. But, we've seen it. It's kind of every other week right now. How do they do every other week? It seems like the even number of weeks. So this will be week 6, game 6. How do they prepare? How focused are they? How do they react when they've just drilled another SEC team? I'm excited to see how they react. Like Josh Heupel said, this is the tip of the freaking iceberg. This offense has a lot of potential, especially, it's getting better. Players getting better on both sides of the ball. We've seen great improvement one week to the next. Granted, Missouri's not Florida, but I think Missouri's better than they played yesterday also. And Tennessee just hammered them. They just hammered them. And I base that based on how they played Kentucky. Kentucky who beat Florida last night. Just a crazy conference. But we'll be at you Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, Talkin' VAWLS live. Another 12 o'clock game next Saturday. It's like Dauber said yesterday on the telecast, start winning, you'll quit playing at 12 o'clock every week. And I think if Tennessee wins again this week, which I fully I think we most, if not all of us, expect that. Then I wouldn't be surprised to see Neyland at night when our old buddy Lane and Ole Miss come to town. But one game at a time. Take care of business this week. Let's run the old Cox out of town with their tail tucked. But this is the Talkin' Vols podcast. My name is the Indy Kid. See you guys Tuesday. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And in the words of Boogie Bentley, go Big Orange.